Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Welcome, everybody. So glad to be with you all. Another Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Yes. Okay. I'm just so excited. This is going to be a very amazing, juicy conversation I'm going to have with my friends, Natie and JoséJavier. And I've known them for a while now. I see them online all the time and all their amazing photos, and I've spent some time, outside of that with them, and they're they're two amazing lovebirds, and yet, hey, guess what? Sometimes we see these power couples, and it's like, come on, we don't believe it, and all that. Yeah, well, they've come through a lot, from what I understand. There's a lot that they've moved through and worked on, and so it takes some work, this relationship stuff, right? So the intimate relationships, and so you're going to learn about this. You're going to learn about what things that you're not thinking about, probably, as far as it relates to being in a relationship, as it relates to being a full on making that sexual decision to be with that one, and how powerful that can be. And they're going to talk all about it. I don't even know I have no clue what they're going to share. Like most of these conversations, they have a clue where we're going. Like, I'm not quite sure yet. I can only kind of guess. But so we're going to get into it. It's going to be so amazing in just one moment.
Want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate Make Money meditation today.
All right. So glad to be here with you, Natie and JoséJavier. Hello.
Hello. Hey, how are you doing, everybody? Expect for troubles today. What are we going to expect today? Expect troubles. Let's expect for some. You want to get in troubles.
Some fun conversation.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got to have fun. We got to be willing to get into whatever wants to happen here. Like to have fun with it. All this idea, this is taboo. We can't get into any trouble. I better watch out. Like, it's so funny. It's so funny, you two, because I don't know if either one of you are on my email list, but I've sent out this "Are You Spiritual Enough" videos to my list, and it's like all these dogmas. If you're spiritual enough, and man, they can go get into everything. I've had people say even dogmas around sexual relationships with couples too, like 3 times a day, it's got to be like this and like that, it's got to look this certain way. My God, there's so many dogmas. I know that we'll destroy all those as much as possible today around relationships and all that stuff. So, but before we get into it, let me go ahead and share with everybody more about you two. JoséJavier and Natie are husband and wife, vibrational coaches and mentors, and founders of their own spiritual business. Originally from Ecuador, they moved to Mexico in 2017, and they are living happily ever after since. Then in the Riviera Maya, which happens to be the area where I was on my honeymoon with my wife, so I think that's kind of cool synchronicity, with their 2 young children. They define themselves as vibrational snobs, vibrational travel agents. I love that they're just willing to own it. I love that. They teach people to improve their mindset. They guide people to follow their dreams. They love to travel and inspire others to migrate their lifestyle from classic, boring to fun, charming, and sexy. JoséJavier is a tech-savvy and digital entrepreneur who loves mind-blowing photography. Always see them taking pictures of Natie, it looks like, anyway. Always cooking and going to the beach. Natie also loves going to the beach. She collects bikinis, and her thing is being able to be a full-time mom while building a prosperous business from home. Power couple, badasses, parents, teachers, spiritual entertainers, storytellers. They teach through their own examples how to transform life to be able to stop surviving and start thriving. So, oh my goodness. So this is just so fun already, just even doing that part. So, so this is great. So, well, one of my questions coming in, I was thinking, well, what are the first things I might want to ask about? First of all, there's a lot of people tuning in, and they, one of the big desires is, is in the community. So if someone isn't with somebody already, or even if they are, like a lot of times they're like, I need to be with the one. Where's my one? Like saying, and that's a big yearning, a big piece for them, right? And so the audience, some of them, who knows, they might be in their 20s, 30s, who knows? But there's a lot of people are older, there might be 40s, 50s, 60s, maybe 70s even, and or more, who knows, again. But we have people in often are older, are listening in. So I don't know how old you two are, but I don't think you're on a way outside age of what I just said. So first of all, I'm curious, because people might be like, oh, what a charmed life. These young people, they're together, they have such a beautiful relationship. But I'm like 50, and they already have like blocks in their head about how could what we're going to talk about even be possible for them. So I just want to learn first about how old you guys are, and then learn more about how did you guys meet and all that. There's a little bit in the bio, and tell us about yourselves a little bit. Anything you want to share.
Well, we're in our 40s, early 40s.
Okay, all right, great. You guys look great.
Oh, thank you. And we believe in pro-aging. No matter what is your age, you can look good, you can look great. It all depends on how you feel. Yes. And we're all about how does your life feels.
Even age is not a number. Age is a feeling. Like, look, when I was 20, I was 80s for an American standard. I was feeling 80s. Like, oh my God, I came from a house that too many rules, too strict mom, too Catholic mom, she very devoted mom, which teach you to put sacrifice as the pleasure thing. So when you put sacrifice as pleasure, you screw up life. Like you have to screw it up. Like, oh my God, I had to have this crappy life to offer Jesus, and have this amazing, and be able to get my dream home mansion after life. Like St. Peter
it comes to the afterlife. Everything comes to the afterlife.
Everything comes to the afterlife. Like, yeah. And the thing is, like, it takes years to put that mind. I was, as you hear, I was really like a Fred Flintstone mindset, like really from really below. And we came from Ecuador. So if you ask how we became so good, look, we came from the same health pit. Like that's where we came from. Like we had too many contrasts, too many control issues, too many stuff going on. Like, so that's where our mindset, we begin that were mindsets. And we decided to get out of there because it was a too small pond. Like we couldn't evolve. We were always trying to please our parents instead of trying to please us. So after we came to Mexico, we find out that we were alone. Like, oh my God, we're alone. So we stopped eventually to stop trying to screw up our relationship and put it so hard and to put it with so many, how do you say, rules, and start to make it fun. Like, really, we learned through life to go through contrast. Like, we have too many issues in our life, like too many issues. And maybe we don't have time for talk about that. But the thing is, we have too many issues, and right now we have an amazing relationship. How we did that? We decided that we want to live. I was a several suicidal, depressive, like I wanted to quit out of life. And right now I know that the really trick to cure depression is not something that is sometimes in the spirit or something in other places. It is about being able to love life, being able to have fun in life. It's not something that is not something theoretical. It's something that you have to commit to fun. You have to commit to life. And many people have a lot of issues. No matter what is your age, we can help. We can be really fun. We can do a lot of stuff to prove our point.
Right. I mean, I think I think just by your energy already, hopefully people are feeling it, but like, you're just like, come on in, hey, it's going to be fun, this is a good time. And
well, it's going to be like a water, how is it?
Water slide.
Yeah, it's going to be like a water slide. You don't want to be in the initial part, but eventually you will love it. Eventually.
Right. You might not like that down. When it's going down, it might be a little frightful, a little crazy. Yeah. On the other side, it's like, yeah.
Exactly. But when it ends, you'll say, okay, I want to do it again, like something like that.
Right.
Yeah, but then you never know. You never know what is going to you're going to happen. You never know what you're going to find out, because you say like these Latin American people, they're a little bit crazy. Yeah, we are, but but this is our spiritual evolving. Like this is what happened when you came from too much contrast and too much sadness, and how much did you make a different life?
Right.
So our relationship is our biggest asset. It's like many people can say whatever you want, but they cannot take that out. They take that out. It's like a relationship is just too fun, too good, too loving, too caring.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just listening to someone talk about financial stuff. Most of it I've heard a million times, but I was just listening because it's good to hear again. And, it's always good to hear the basics and everything. And we're talking about financial matters, and it talked literally about, okay, this is what an asset is. This is what a liability is. And I think we don't think about that in terms of things, relationships and other things in our life. We just, that's all financial stuff. But an asset in your life, what does an asset mean? It's something of value that appreciates, over time, right? And a value, you're appreciating it, right? Whereas a liability is something like, I don't know I don't remember the technical, but it goes down in value is the bottom line. Like you may be fun in the moment, but it goes, so how many choices are we making based on investing in assets rather than in liabilities in our life, not just with money, right? Isn't that amazing? Like we're constantly doing liabilities.
Investing in your relationship is the best investment, financially speaking, because whatever you can think about, a divorce is expensive. We start with the divorce. Then we start with the problems with the kids. Then we start with the problems that we didn't resolve. We didn't fix it when we could, when we had the teacher that was with us, like the one that was giving us the thing that I didn't want anymore. But the thing that I didn't want anymore, sometimes it was even before that your husband, or even before your spouse. It was even before everything. It's something that you have from when you were a child. And then you're carrying on, and you get pissed off when you are in your 30s and 40s, and you don't want to have it anymore. But the thing is, sometimes you are not pissed off with your couple. You're pissed off with what you live, and now you're carrying, and you haven't seen the things that you have. Like many people in the world has this belief that the guy or the girl that I married is not the love of my life. I know that because she always felt like I didn't was the true love of her life. And I was like, oh my God, for me, she was the true love of my life. And she can be able to say that. But a lot of women and a lot of men says, oh, I had this love of my life in the past. Oh, he wasn't the one, but I married with him because he was the one that wanted to marry me, or something like that. And the thing is, like, they don't go deeper because they don't want to fix. They don't want to put some spice in their relationship.
Yeah. I feel I don't know, even though I've been a counselor and I've helped people in relationships. I haven't done a lot of couples counseling or anything that much in the past, but definitely dealt with people that had relationships and were dealing with and of course throughout my career in different ways, but mostly focused on spirituality, business, energy work, and all these different things that I work with. But yet in the same, like my experience is that though people say they're committed to a relationship and everything, when the big stuff hits the fan, that's what you find out what is true. And again, I'm not saying, like, my own take anyway is, I'm not saying everybody should be together forever once they decide to marry. I'm not going down that road either, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like so many of the divorces that do happen, in my opinion,
No.
And then I hear, because some people, oh my God, you don't know my situation. Okay, whatever, that's okay. But like, I just know like so many, and there are people are like, I probably should have stayed with the person I divorced, right? Like you hear that a lot too. So it's like people have to realize your growth, your partner is going to challenge the hell out of you. What do you expect? Like if you have a decent like intimacy or deep intimacy, you're going to trigger each other constantly, especially early on. And then it'll continue for the rest of your life at some level, right? I mean, people say they're beyond it all. I don't believe them. It still comes up, here and there, right? It might be a little different, but it's still there. So it's always constantly like this, one of your most amazing growth points, for your life. And I think a lot of people run around that. Well, if I just find the right person only, then that's going to work better for me. And maybe sometimes people experience.
No, look, for us, it wasn't like that. Mm-hmm. For us, we build this relationship. We were really destroying in a relationship in a part of life, but we have a kid that needed a surgery in the United States. That's how we found we needed to learn how to make money, because we need money to take our daughter to surgery. So that's why we evolved. But for that, we needed both of us, and we hated it.
Because in the beginning, we tried to destroy the relationship a lot of times. It was unconscious, but that was happening. And then something harder had to happen in order for us to decide to stop destroying and start being a team, because there was a biggest purpose.
We need, look, we don't like each other. It was something like this. We don't like each other, but I need you and you need me. And our daughter needs
Let me ask you about that. Yeah, let me ask you about that. So, Natie, for example, let me ask you, and it's hear a little bit more from you as well in this flow, but it's like, so what were the challenges? Like, I know in my marriage, one of the challenges is although we have commonalities, we also are diametrically opposed in some areas, like in terms of like the way we tend to be. Like I tend to be like, hey, let's be expanded, let's do whatever we want, a little bit more on that end. And she's more like, well, I don't know, should we really be doing this right now? Let's think about it. What problems could be in all this, right? So I'm like, everything's possible, let's do it all. And she's like, where are all the problems? Let's see why maybe we should do this. Like she tends a little bit more towards that side most of the time. And it could flip, too, but more so. So like there's these different places. And so for us, like I found like that contrast and that those differences, we could grow, we could become more actualized, more evolved, right? We're talking about evolving through the marriage, and it's like you found that. So what do you guys find? I'd love to hear that, starting with you, Natie. Like where did you guys contrast, or how did it show up for you, the challenges?
For me, like my mind was really screwed up. My mind was really like, I didn't know anything about loving a person because I didn't love myself in the beginning. So that has a lot to do with how you start a relationship. And it also has to do with what you say, like evolving the relationship. It took me a long while to realize that I was very immature. And having now a mature brain, you could say, to be able to hold a relationship, a family, kids, and all that, that has been my process. Like from being totally not knowing myself and who I was, and turning into someone I know and I like, even though some things he may not like or whatever, but it's about being able to speak up and to say your side, your position. The other one is going to have another position, and that's fine. But if you don't have the communication skills to tell that, it's going to stay inside and it's going to be like a frustration, and then it's going to get worse. So my main message is people have to speak up, especially women have to speak up, but also women need to learn to speak in a way that they can be understood. Because in the beginning, women, when get power, they start speaking up too aggressive, you could say, but that's not the best way. So they need to modulate until they can find tune to communicate with their partners and with the world in general.
And she was really good. Like, as a mom, you can say the perfect mom. But perfect moms can be screwed. Like, perfect mom can be so overprotective. Perfect moms can be so control obsessive. Perfect moms wants to everything go right, and this has to be like this, and this, and too many thoughts in their mind. Like, she was really good.
So how long have you been married, and how many kids do you have? How old are they, and all that?
We are 15 years married.
Wow.
We have 2 kids, and their ages are 13 and 9.
Oh, nice. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. That's great. Yeah, our kids are what? I've got a stepdaughter, so she's in her 30s, and we have grandkids and all that stuff. And then I have my 2 daughters here. It's all girls' world, 17 and 14 here at home. So it's kind of a somewhat of a similar age range, a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I was just curious, and then just to kind of get an idea, maybe you've been married a few years for all we know without asking, and that's a whole nother dynamic, right? Because it's so funny. I don't know where this idea came in, right? They say when people get married, like there's this there's different aspects, right? So when you first get married, there's people that get divorced right away because they're like, oh, now that we're married, now everything changed. Oh my God. Now you're trying to tell me what to do, I'm trying to tell you what to do, and we're clashing, we're fighting all the time. And then you've got that phase to go through, and then there's all these different phases that can happen.
But look, Daniel, that phase is the phase that you come from home. Like, you don't want to get a new order. You are so tired, frustrated and tired from hearing orders all your life, and you're still in the same system because that's what you learn, and that's what you're applying, and that's what you're doing, and you don't know that this isn't automatic. And you're screwing up your relationship because you cannot stop doing something easy as you don't need to give an order to him. If you want it, you do it first. And if you do, and there's a lot of stuff in relationships, like a lot of manipulation, especially in the sexual part. There's a lot of manipulation there. So I think couples don't want to speak about this. But if they don't open up, they uncover this, they won't have the amazing relationship that they can have.
Yeah. Well, as I say too, there's truth to it, right? How you do. It's not universally true in my opinion, but how you do anything is how you do everything. So how you're doing your relationships, how you're doing so many other things as well. There's patterns in there that leak into all the other aspects of your life, right? So, I mean, so if you're in a marriage, you're like, I'm always right. Now you listen to me, and and all that sort of thing. You could possibly, be right about this, and we're going back and forth and all that. So how did you? So for those, so there's so many different ways we can go, because I don't know. We've got people listening. They want the relationship. They're like, oh my God, it's hard work and everything. I thought it'd just be a dream relationship and everything.
No, it's easy. It can be easier than you can imagine.
Okay, so you guys are going to make it easier than maybe what you had it, right?
Yeah.
10 years easier.
10 years easier. Like we take people that they never stop fighting, and that right now they're having good relationships. The kids are right. They are the ones that write us like, thanks for mom and dad. So thanks. We have a new relationship. There's something good about the kids. When you have a good home and you feel love in home, and you put this love, kids start to feel that they are loved. The next thing that they love is their kids. They stop doing manipulation. They start doing control. You stop showing things that they are not true, and you start showing love. Look, the most of the mental problems that people have in the world is because they don't feel love. That's all.
Right.
But when you feel love, many things change. Yes. And sometimes the thing, like with many couples, is like they didn't feel love in their own homes. The dad or mom they were never there. When something bad happens and they speak up, they never listen. Many things that happen, like many traumas that happen there, and you don't feel love, and you are somebody that doesn't feel love, trying to love a kid, and you teach them the same. You're not lovable enough. But as parent, you love your kids. but you didn't give the proper message that you're loved. You just give a proper message like you are not enough.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And like you say, it's not universal, not universal,
right.
But this is too general.
Yeah. Well, so there's so many directions we can go with this. I think one of the ones that there's so many things people are interested, I'm sure, about all of this, about what we're talking about today. But yeah, you say, it's the best financial, spiritual, and sexual decision to make is being
spiritual. Look, spiritual. You will have the most spiritual evolving path in your life when you have a good relationship in your home. Like, what is a spiritual? Being spiritual is having the best ego possible, the most nice ego that you can ever imagine. Like when you see a spiritual teacher, you see a good ego. Imagine two good egos, like working together, loving them, like caring for them, for each other. Is a bit of codependency, yes, but at the same time, for getting that place, you have to be really independent, really selfish. You have to learn to be selfish to have a good relationship. You have to learn to fight to have a good relationship.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, otherwise, the patterns take over, and you're just in the same old stuff, right? That gets boring, and you get resentful, and you're like, oh, I wish they'd let me do this or let me do that. And it's like you never even taken a stand in a clear, centered way to have what you want, and it kind of comes back to law of attraction and stuff. Well, I got these heavy thoughts, or I got this heavy partner that doesn't let me do it, or it's all the same thing, it's like they're just all.
But it is not, well, it is law of attraction, but what is happening in the mind is like, they're always treating me like this. They always say me the same. So they're expecting to get the same idea or the same result, or this, because they don't have a new way to communicate, they get the same words. So as they get the same word, they get the same result each time. So it keeps coming and coming and coming. But if you change how you communicate, if you start to speak out from the feelings, and you start to really merge consciousness, both of the team, and they want to work together, they will start to hear, oh, I didn't know this happened to you.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I remember when I feel like this with my mom. So sad. I'm doing this to you. I'm sometimes they cannot say I love you in the first moment, but they're like, oh my God, afterward, like yeah, I love you, but I'm so, they most of the time they are so rencoroso, how do you say so resentful.
Yeah.
That they cannot say what they're really feeling, and what they're really feeling is, I want to feel love.
Right. That's kind of what sets everything right, doesn't it?
Yeah, we teach love, like look, unconditional love. You want to learn it? Love your husband, love your wife. You want to know what is unconditional love? It's like, yeah, maybe he's not going to change, maybe, but you can divorce, yeah. But you can still, if you have kids, you will have to have a good relationship with that guy. You will have to still see him, maybe sometimes. You will want him to be in your life, especially with your kids. No matter what, like that is unconditional love. Like
to choose your partner.
Yeah.
Every day.
Oh, I divorced him, but anyhow, I wish him the best, because if he is having a good life, my kids will learn something good.
Right.
Some time ago, I see an interview with Katy Perry. It was Orlando Bloom ex that it was Katy Perry's is her husband, and Orlando Bloom had a child in the past. She had a great relationship with Katy Perry, and they say like, yes, we are divorced, but we have a great relationship with everybody here, because we want the best for the kid. So as the best for the kid, and as much as we love, we are all part of the same team.
Right.
Damn, that has evolved.
That's maturity.
That's maturity. That's the thing, like, that's what we teach.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we got the global sense of we're all on the same team as well, right? So, and yet, yeah, this You know, we have a family here. We have, you know, we're, you know, for me, it's like I experience it as, partly how I experience it is just this, so many different ways, but this deep sense of, the Sacred Heart connection with my wife, with the family and everything. It's just like it's an unshakable core, you know. I mean, yeah, your pain body, your mind can fight it, right? And be like, oh, I don't like them, or I don't like this, or whatever, right? But underneath that, there's this, we are that, we are the love, right? We are that, we're that universal love. And so just for our audience, like, so how do you do that? How do you get present? How do you not, you know, like I get triggered so fast, like next thing I know, I'm throwing the pots and pans at them or something, or whatever the case may be. But like the triggers, they happen so fast. So yeah. I'm wondering how, when there are challenges, how do you guys navigate? How do you teach other people to navigate? Like there's a ongoing communication, right? Like preventative medicine, like is good communication is how I would see it, right? And then like, but when those flare-ups come up, like that's a question I have, how you guys handle that. How do you deal with it?
Okay.
You have to be prepared. Maybe you don't have the answer right away, but you have to be in the right mood to face that uncomfortable moment. Something that we did in the past that now I look back that was very important for our marriage was that when we moved from Ecuador to Mexico, the first financial decision was hiring a mentor to build a business together. And it was a very high investment for us at the time. So the focus we needed to put to make it work was what kept us together, like a goal, because it's very easy to go each one to a different path. So you sometimes need something stronger to keep you glued together until it works. And then you can have the fun part. But at the beginning, I remember that when I started building the business, I thought that I had all the answers and that I knew it all and all that. But I learned to have the humility to include my husband in my
and she started to hear my thought, like, look, we are two different people, too much. Well, we were too different. Right now, we every day we think more similar,
right?
But the thing is, we were so different, and we were hearing her way of thinking. I was hearing my way of thinking.
Like, I can just imagine, because you know how I tune in. I'm like just hearing it right now. I'm like, what are you thinking? Like I could hear, like, this is crazy. Why do you want to do that? Like,
and we have two different point of views. Yeah. But the thing is, like, when we have two different point of view, we start to create a third different point of view. It's like her story, my story, our story.
Our story.
And there's something between our that is a kind of it gets their own ego, it gets their own spiritual ego, it gets its own way of thinking. It's like it's something like, it's not just me, it's not just her. It is this part of this that it is just us. That's why we always write as Natie and JJ. Natie and JJ. Everything we put is Natie and JJ. Because it is us.
It's a consciousness already.
Yeah.
Also, the business is like a consciousness that has its own life. And we are working for that consciousness while enjoying doing that.
About how we do sometimes many things. If you want to know, it's easier when you have kids, because you can show them how is getting in their kids. You can see in their attitude there, you can see in the behavioral stuff, and they say, oh, that's why my kid acts like that. That's why. Oh, I can see it. And you don't want to screw him up, right? And you don't want him to believe that it's like he do something wrong. And what happened if that one was your kid? Will you be mad at your kid as if he act like that? And there's some many moms is like it is my kid. Right. Yeah, but the thing is, like, yeah, but he can be also your kid. He wasn't a bad guy. He just make sometimes a mistake, or you're listening this. So are you able to go and punch your kid? And would you like that somebody get mad with your kid because of this? And many people that start like, oh my goodness, because when they put somebody that they love in that part, because sometimes they don't want to love their partner, but when they put somebody that they love in that position, that's a tool that helps a lot to make a lot of questions within yourself.
Right. Yeah, I think that, yeah, this is interesting because too, for me, because I'm guessing, like, I've got this other ear that's listening to possibly some of our female listeners thinking, God, wow, look at this relationship. They sound great, but at the same time, man, JoséJavier is like, the husband there is just taking over. He's talking like most of the time and everything. And it must be one of those traditional kind of relationships then, I guess, like the old school. And that's but here's the thing, like what I want people to know is like, Natie's like the superstar. She's the one that's like leading the face of the business. I mean, from the last time I heard, like, she's the one that is in the spotlight, I think JoséJavier, he's totally in support of her shining. Like, so it's kind of the opposite of what some people might be thinking. I could just hear like somebody thinking that right now. So I'm like, no, it's not like that. Like, again, it's ego, it's judgments, it's concepts. Well, why is he talking so much? She needs to talk more. And, all these ideas, it's like, but that's not how, it is what it is. And becoming more an acceptance of like, let it be what it wants to be, like in our relationships too. Okay, I learned early on in a relationship, she wants the thermostat at a certain level, and I could fight her all day and night about where I think it should be. And it's the stupidest argument ever. Okay, it matters a lot more to you, honey, than it does to me what that thermostat's at. So why don't we just kind of go with what you want? Of course, I'll give feedback, but I'm not going to be so attached to it. Have your thermostat where you want it. I'll dress up or down for it. Like things like that. If people get into all these arguments, it's like whoever's fighting harder for what they want in the relationship in that area, I always say, let them have their way for the most part. Have them more of their way, because there are going to be other things that matter more to you. Then you need to just be full on in those areas. And, probably they'll yield more because they'll see like, oh, this really matters to you. And then you've invested like in what really matters to them, right? So like, this is something I've really seen in my own relationship. And I imagine this is what happens for you too. Like you find the way where it works for you, where it really all comes together for you. So I'd love anything you want to share about that, because I don't know, like I said, but I told you guys this will be partly a conversation today, but like that's what I've noticed in my marriage.
No, thank you for saying that. We have heard those kind of comments before. I mean, it's hard to believe sometimes for people, because myself, I'm a very introvert person. I don't speak much. That's for sure.
It's just normal, right?
That's normal. But people who know me and who have more confidence, and I have more confidence in, they can know a different perspective of me. It's not public, but I do have it. The thing is that we have find that place where it works for both of us. Yeah. He has been my support, like you said, for my life. I could not be speaking if it wasn't for him.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful.
Yeah. For it is fun because I always tell Natie, we have two business. My business is not, it doesn't give me money, but I need you because she's my model. She's my muse. I will take the pictures. I love this part of my life. I'm taking pictures of showing her. Like I really appreciate. Like this is just artistic way of doing. And in the other part, she needs me in the business, like this business, and in the spiritual, in the helping people business. So we need each other. But the economical business is her. The spiritual business is her. My business is just pictures.
That's so funny. I know it's more than that, but it's so funny.
Yeah. I want to make it a business. Like I'm saying, like I take mind-blowing pictures. You want a picture from me? So I'm just starting right now my photography business here in Playa. I don't know how it's going to be, but it is made me so happy that I will do it for free.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have kids, we have all these things, that come up. We're together for a while. Maybe some of our like, wow, we enjoy this aspect of our relationship sexually or whatever it is. Like, and whatever they say, the 7-year itch or whatever, all these concepts where they come from, I don't know, but 7 is a change year, I suppose, right? These cycles of 7. So maybe that's where it comes from, this idea. But anyway, we get to these different places. Things change after you have kids in certain ways, right? So things change after you're together longer and longer, and they can go in different ways, right? Depending on how you either adapt to those things or you don't. So what are the things, some of the wisdom you would give to people who are looking to evolve their marriage, but they're running into problems? We just had kids, and oh my God, we are arguing about like who's doing what, and like there's more issues there, and we're more short with each other because there's so much demand with the kids to take care of them or whatever. We're arguing where they even should go to preschool or I don't know, all the things that come up with kids. There's so many things, right? So again, what are some basic things you can share with people as they navigate these new life, these big changes that happen in a lot of marriages?
I will say it first and then you go.
Okay.
The first thing is like, for me, all the things that you say that the people have, I have this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. They always take them out of the biggest part of the equation. That is the relationship. If you have a good relationship, you will get the best of your kids.
Mm-hmm.
The best investment, the best company that you can ever have is the relationship. It's like where you have to put all the goals is here. Everything you can screw it up everywhere, but not as a parent. That's the only place that if you screw it up, you will have to pay it for 20 more years or 30. So that's why we said we put a lot of effort of please focus here. Please focus here. This is the key. This is the secret. Everybody's asking for the secret. Here is the secret.
Mm-hmm.
And to complement that, I would say something basic that I didn't know at the time is to breathe.
Yeah, right.
Something so simple, but to breathe, it's so important. People don't do it like consciously. They don't give themselves permission to take a deep breath and feel whatever is going on and feel what's happening. So it helps a lot when you have, especially when you have kids that are little kids. It helps a lot that you wake up in the morning, you take your 15 minutes before starting and everything. 5 minutes, I always take my time to breathe slowly, to listen to the birds, whatever. And then I do 5 minutes of writing what I appreciate every day, things that I appreciate without effort. And then what I do is 5 minutes of dancing to start my day, so that when my kids see me in the kitchen or whatever, they can see a happy, fun mom, not a messy or
Grumpy.
mad or grumpy. However, they have seen a lot of that version too.
Right, we're honest.
We're humans.
Right. But that's part of life. I mean, how you're handling that becomes like the times I get crazed with whatever I'm crazed with. If I feel it's appropriate, I'll talk to the kids about it. They're older now, but so they kind of understand the routine. But like, hey, if I was angry with them, like, hey, I'm so sorry. I'll tell them 5 times even, like, hey, I'm so sorry about that, by the way. Just so they really understand, like, I love you. I'm just, this is what I was dealing with, just being transparent. And a lot of times we're so busy just trying to be I'm the parent, all that stuff. And it's like, we have to just, okay, no, it's like you're in a relationship with a being, and, to some degree, it depends on how old they are to some degree, but how you approach it. But, it's another being. It's not, I'm the parent, I'm the boss kind of thing, and all that stuff. And that goes with so many things in relationships, like all these ideas of the way it should be, rather than, again, letting love lead the way, and just being really open in communication, being willing to be 100% vulnerable. So I think people are, afraid from their past, right? Like when I get really vulnerable, that's when people hurt me. They're like, oh, you're vulnerable. Oh, because I feel vulnerable. and I don't want to, you know, get hurt. And I'm afraid you might hurt me eventually. Maybe I'll hurt you first, and I'll back you off, and then you won't get into my vulnerability, right? And we do that in marriage too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also another thing is like if you are with your kids and they're little especially, and you close your eyes and you don't feel yourself like you are loved, you cannot give that feeling to your kids. So my suggestion would be look for therapy, because it's not normal to not feel loved, but it's so normal that you don't recognize that.
Yeah. But you need therapy for someone that feels love, because you can go to a psychologist or psychiatrist that they don't feel, even they don't know what is to feel love. They just have the theoretical stuff, but they don't know what is the problem about not feeling love.
And
So if you want that, you need somebody that they feel love.
Yeah. So, and I think, you know, that's what I appreciate about you two again, is, you know, we feel that energy with you and all that. So let's talk about the spicy side. We haven't got into any of that all this whole time. So let's talk about that a little bit, because we could talk about this for, you know, 2-3 hours already, what we're already getting into here. We're going to do endless hours. But we want to talk about that because you said it's most importantly, it's the most important sexual decision you can make, it is to evolve your marriage. So tell us more about that aspect of it. Like, what do you mean by that? Why? So, you know, most marriages, it starts off, if there is a good amount of joy and sex and, you know, goodness going on there, it starts off hotter, then it cools down and goes down to zero in some cases, you know, over the years. So how do you keep it spicy? Why is it, well, you know, why is evolving the marriage the most important sexual decision and all that?
Okay, I go first. Because you have problems talking about sexual.
A little bit.
Did you feel a little bit shy?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not so much anymore. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of problems in the sexual part. Like when we started our marriage, we didn't have almost sex. Like we started like many people, and we started like that with not much sex, a lot of problems, and then we start to see what the problems were there. I have a lot of insecurity, and she had a lot of abuse in her childhood. So things, when you mix this both of things don't go well.
Yes.
But as our kid needed us, we start to look. We didn't know that sex was a problem until we have money. That happened 10 years later.
Wow.
Like, we were always looking for, where is the problem? Where is the problem? Where is the fucking sorry? Where is the problem? We find out that sex was the biggest problem. And people, they don't put a lot of importance to sex because they don't want to see it. They want to avoid saying like this can be a problem. They don't want to accept it. They will do when sex is the problem, they will do whatever they can do to avoid it.
Like especially women in a relationship, they start saying no because my husband does this and we don't get well because this, whatever. But the thing is that most of the times women are not doing their part to make the relationship work.
We see this also in the men.
Also men.
And we have seen, but it's not a usual.
I think that's an interesting point that Natie makes. You're right. It's obviously both, but like, tell us more about, because I think that's very interesting, because a lot of women probably know that, but like at the same time they're like, no, it's his fault or whatever. So yeah, if he'd only do this, if he only did that, and if he does that, and then if he gets me the castle, and then if he digs out the moat and he fills it in, I mean, and then maybe if he does this, and then maybe, right? So it's like,
then maybe
it's never going to happen. They're like,
never is gonna happen.
I'd love for you to.
It's treated like a prize that
exactly.
the man has to achieve to deserve this. But all this is because women are not empowered, and they don't know that they have the responsibility, the right, also the opportunity to fulfill their sexual life and their sexual needs first. And then also your partner can help, and they most likely do. But first, the woman has to do their job. And women prefer to think that the problem is money, the problem is the partner, the problem is the job, whatever.
The belly.
Or their body,
The
that
body.
they're not good enough, whatever. But the real problem is that they don't love themselves. They don't see the importance of sex in their own life, because it's part of life. It's like food, it's like sleeping.
But repeat that, because many people will say, like, woman is saying that sex is important. Like what? Like, they can take like a man. Are you saying that? Are you saying that bad word?
There to say that.
Like women like sex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's getting a little bit better in that area, especially with spiritual women, you know, but yeah, traditionally, yeah, it's kind of been crazy with all that suppressed energy, right? It's like, yeah, that would be a bad thing or whatever, but or a weird thing, or that's for men. That's what they men are into the sex, women, you know, they just deal with it or whatever.
Yeah.
All these ideas, right? So, but yeah, I mean, there is a lot of people complain the sex isn't very good, you know, like they, you know, like the women especially, right? They always say, they says, what I've always heard, right? Oh, the men, they always have a good time. It's the women that, you know, it's don't always usually have such a great time with sex, and it's not so great or whatever. And what's your viewpoint on that? Because you probably hear a lot of that from couples that are looking for, you know, guidance from you guys.
The first thing that we hear from women mostly is like, I didn't know that was a problem. And we say, yes, it's a problem that you think that sex is not important for you. It is a problem that you think that it doesn't belong. You're a human, like you're an animal. Without you're still an animal. Where's your animal? Just you will still want to have sex. Where's your animal? You have too much control in your life that you over control your inner animal. And you cannot be so happy, and you cannot connect yourself deeply if you don't have the key to this part of your life.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's a great point. It's a great point. So what's so you guys had this thing where, well, you know, this, how were you guys able to ramp up that sex life, so to speak, or, you know, how are you able to do that through evolving the marriage, so to speak? So how did that come about? Tell us some more. Let's get to it. Give us some juicy details. Yeah.
Yeah, as well as we invested in business, we also invested in this topic. We
Mm.
invested a lot of time and a lot of money going to little escapes for ourselves to reconnect and to be able to, more than reconnect between us, it was about me connecting with myself. And that was a very long process where he taking me pictures, for example, is part of the process, or me liking the bikinis is part of the process also.
There was a part of her life when she wanted to disappear from world. Like she was really, really, really thin, like really, really, like she was disappearing, and she didn't want to eat. She didn't want to have anything. She just wanted anything. So once I hear somebody, a coach from from New Zealand, talking about a place in Cancun that he go to, Temptation Resort, that is a adults resort, and he was speaking about, do you think that you're man enough? Just go there and see if you don't feel like less, or you don't feel. I was like, no, I'm man enough. I can go there. But I go there and I was like, damn, I was feeling so like a child, so less, so inappropriate. But for the first time, my wife, she was eating. She was having fun. She was dancing. It was when she started to have fun in that adults playground, and she started to eat and to have joy for life. It was, oh my God, I found because I was really in deeper self, I didn't want to lose her. And I was thinking I'm losing her. I love her. And I was never speaking about this. And I'm always with the good humor and stuff, but but when she started to reconnect to herself, she started feeling sexy, because everything started when she started feeling sexy. When she started feeling, I'm desirable. Oh, people can see me. Oh, for her was like, look, people is seeing me. She didn't feel like that pretty enough, and she's gorgeous. When this started, this how everything started to evolve. And then it takes some years until Natalie starts saying like, oh, I do like sex. Because at the first, I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for you. Like, this is what women say. Everybody, well, men and women, not only women. There are many men that has this energy, and they will say this: I'm doing this for you. But afterwards, it was like, no, you're not doing this for me. You're liking too much to do this for me. You're also having fun, and you're also like it. And she feels more secure being seen in the beach than just being another one more disappear, but just one more normal one.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I always wonder what that's about. Like, I mean, I have my own ideas, but women are like, I do think like earlier what I was saying, it's almost like, well, if you're being good enough, then you'll get sex. It's like that kind of dynamic, right? Like, kind of like my way of saying, I really appreciate the way you're being lately. So, we can do this now, but otherwise, no. So,
I will tell you something. Like, look, many women come to work with us for the first step, but the second step is almost always paid by the husbands. Like, you're to go, just go there again. Just go. Please keep going there. Right. Like they are the ones that pay the second trip. Like, look, you still go with them because they start to like what they get in their own homes, good relationships. Look, I'm telling you, it's the secret. The secret behind every secret, this is one.
Yeah. So yeah, I know, like, I think that the more you show attention and affection to your wife, just overall, I mean, it's just so basic. It's like if you just keep showing attention and affection, you put your arm around her, you do this, you do that, just do more and more of the basic things. Like, it's as old as time. I mean, almost like one thing leads to another, like, I think for guys, like, for some guys, maybe they get just frustrated. Oh, she's rejecting me. Oh, she doesn't want to be with me. Oh, but they got to understand like that there's a dynamic. I believe, Natie, you can let me know what your experience is, but it's like when you have that, your partner or the man or whatever approaching you in a way like with that affection and love and all those things, like, at some point you start to relax, you start to relax and you're like, oh, now I can relax. I know that, whatever, you have a recognition of like, oh, I can relax into this now. Like that comes upon us. And then it starts to go, and then, everything goes better, right? Like the sex life's better, your relationship gets better. And, like all those sorts of things just feed together. So I don't know. So I just, but his idea, you got to kind of earn it and all that. I don't know if you have the guys, I think, let themselves get shut down too much is my guess. I don't talk to enough guys about this yet, but I will. And Natie, I'm thinking women try to make it almost like I've been saying, maybe we're repeating ourselves, are like, there's something deeper. Like it looks like they're trying to make it really hard. So they get their guys, I got you controlled a little bit maybe, or whatever the idea is, but like, I got you, I can get you to do what I want. Hey, do some more chores, then we'll talk, or whatever.
It's kind of like that. And also like happy wife, happy life. That's for sure. But the thing is that the wife has to be healed, and that the wife has to be first, like, she has to feel loved by herself. This is an important part that people don't understand. Maybe they see a couple and they believe that the love was created within the couple. But we have learned that we have to create that first for ourselves, because otherwise it doesn't work. It really doesn't work. None of them. So both pieces need to be feeling first a connection with themselves in order to give it to the other person. like something that Javier has given me a lot is a lot of support, a lot of confidence to be myself, even my worst. I know I can trust that I can be my worst and he can still be there because I know he loves me. I know I love him. And once you find that person where you can be yourself, even in your worst, I think that's the best thing that you ever asked for. Yeah. Because everybody just wants to be accepted. It's not about the money. It's not about the relationship or the things that you have. It's about being accepted in the world.
Yeah, accepted in unconditional love. Like, I love you unconditionally, even when you are like, even when you are burning me.
Right. Well, I think that's why it comes up a lot of times is it's a test, right? We're testing each other. Well, you're gonna love me now when I show up like this. You still here or not? You know, yeah. Totally. I mean, for the men and women, I both on both sides.
There's a lot that there was a lot of manipulation from my part at the beginning, just because of that.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was a manipulation. It was a way of love. It was screwed up. But
no, you weren't alone. Sorry. Yeah, I needed that also. I was asking for that with my actions and stuff. That was the old version of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's the beauty of it when you can wake up to what's really happening, you know, and sometimes we, you know, 100%, we need the help to be able to do it often, to do the work on ourselves, to do the work with our relationships and everything. And all those things. But yeah, the more we can allow ourselves to realize that relationship with ourselves, with life, and with ourself, or however you want to look at all those things, like that kind of informs, like you're saying, Natie, like 80-90% of it right there. I mean, that's 80-90% of it right there. And then you could say 100%, but like, you know, so much of it is just, how am I being with myself? I mean, much less with my husband or wife or whatever may be the case. And
so yeah, these dynamics, it's like, yeah, 80-90, like I said, 80-90% is just working like within ourselves, and that informs everything, all of our relationships. And then there's that other aspect that we're dealing with within that relationship, I suppose. But and again, I don't want to, you know, stereotype men and women, and there's all kind of different relationships. It's informed by a lot of things, culture, and, you know, our particular parents and background. Oh, so many things that inform these relationships. We're just talking about like kind of some of the most common dynamics that we might see a lot, you know. So anyway, as we're moving forward with this, like one last question maybe, and then we'll start wrapping it up. Like some people might think like, maybe the grass is greener after a while, right? When they're in marriage, like, hey, I wonder what it'd be like, you know, right? What would it be like, especially on the sexual level? Maybe not to leave a marriage, but like maybe that too. But like they're like, I wonder what it'd be like to be with someone else. And I think more than people want to admit that these ideas come through their mind. You know, I think more than people will ever confess to, right? These ideas come in, and it's like, I think when people act on it, who knows? Maybe it works out sometimes. You know, have these you know, women like what is it, France, Italy, or whatever? You know, they say they all have affairs. Like, I think it's France. I think it was France, but anyway, everybody has a mistress or whatever. That's part of the culture, so maybe it kind of works for them, right? But I think it's like when you're saying it's more important to evolve the marriage than, because that's how I hear it. Like more important to evolve the marriage than like, oh, marriage sucks. Just have, you know, it's better sex. Keep having novel experiences or whatever. New guys, you know, find the Latin lover, they say, or whatever. Because you guys are from Ecuador, but like, you know, like that idea. I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that, or if that's even anything you're implying and what you're saying, like it's the most important sexual decision.
I have one topic that I want Natalie to expand. I will start with this. There's before sex, you have to have sexual communication, and many people don't know what sexual communication is because they think that sexual is only the sex part. That sex starts here in the brain, and before sex, you need to speak up what you want. That's why I was telling you the first biggest part that Natalie was speaking was woman saying, I like sex. I want sex, instead of me, man, looking for sex, it's like she is looking for the sex also. So I want to expand this because this is the biggest, maybe this is the biggest key.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I believe that the brain is the biggest helper or also biggest obstacle that people are going to find, because sex is something that you can only enjoy when mind is not there. And it's so hard to take off the mind and only feel like the body and have a pure connection with whatever you're doing in the moment. So it's a very important piece to know that it's important to enjoy sex, that it's good, that God sent us to enjoy it, and that it is our job to take out the mind of the equation to be able to fulfill that need. Because if you don't fulfill that need, you're going to be a problem in society. Not only in your family, you're going to be a problem in society. So you have to do the job for yourself. You have to see the importance of having this problem solved, because it is a problem, but until you realize it is a problem, it can take decades of suffering, of misery, of bad relationships, of divorces, whatever, because you don't solve this little part of who you are. And you're a human being. Human being is like an animal. Like, it also has needs that needs to be solved and to be given. And it is your job to do that by yourself. That's the first thing. And your mind, we always say that your mind is your biggest sexual organ. That's the biggest sexual piece that you need to have in place.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if your mind is preoccupied with other things, then the sex is going to be really non-existent or really bad, like not so great, boring, or not great, right? So that's definitely true. So this is great. I mean, I think there's so much more to teach and to share. There's so many things we didn't get into. I just feel like, man, we didn't. How do you guys, you got to take care. I think to kind of summarize here is like, you got to take care of yourself. You got to harness, you got to do your own healing. You got to do your own evolving. You got to do your own, you got to, and you get help doing that. You don't have to do it on your own, but like, you need to work there, right? If you want to have a great relationship and evolve your marriage and all that sort of thing. Okay, so we got that, and then you need to have the communication going with each other. Like it's old, again, one of the oldest wisdoms ever, right? We have to stay in communication. What's really going on for us? Be willing to be vulnerable. Be willing to be a hot mess with each other and hold presence and love for each other. I'm just trying to summarize.
But you know something, Daniel, here is that people want that. It's like when one of the couples says, "Oh, we need help." They want the other to come with them, like, we both need help to change. And the first thing is, I need your humility to be the first one to say, I need to change me first. After I change my behavioral, you will see how your partner starts to change. And sometimes, most of the times, if there is love there, if there's still love there, their partner will say, I want what you're doing, I need also that. And then they do their biggest journey in their lives.
And also, like, about the language, having a communication, it's important that to develop a sexual communication doesn't mean that your sex life has to be spiced up already. Because, for example, for us, it was in the beginning just holding hands, just being able to hold hands, walking in the street, or giving a hug, or being affectionate. I was not affectionate at all. So it is part of like being your best natural version of yourself, not because your partner deserves or not, but because that's who you are, and recovering that sense of affectionate feeling that you really are. And then the sex is going to flow, because as you say, one thing leads to another.
Right. Yeah. Like, when I love that. So yeah, it's just like again, it's another instance where we're just not really being ourselves. We would naturally want to do these things if we weren't caught up with our wounds and, you know, getting caught up in our mind, therefore, and, you know, the ideas of what we're doing and our safety protocols and our resistance protocols and what, you know, defenses and, you know, whatever, caught up in ourselves, just caught up in our own stuff, like not even giving attention to our partners, you know, in a significant way, a deeper way. So yeah, there's so much there. Thank you. So yeah, we're at a time where unfortunately where I feel like we're going to need to start wrapping up the show. We could just keep going. This is so good. So where can people learn more maybe about all this and connect with you guys more? I know you guys help a lot with law of attraction, how all this connects to law of attraction. I mean, you know, when you get this going, a lot of people understand this, you know, it's not like a brand new idea. Like you get it going in your marriage and everything, all of a sudden like manifestation goes a lot easier because you're a more whole, well person. And you guys teach all this stuff. So where can I learn more about you two?
You can follow us on Instagram at Natie y JoséJavier. You can PM us and let us know that you...
We don't have that much message in English. That's stuff. We speak perfect English, but we don't have the, well, not that perfect, but perfect enough English. but we don't have material in English. But you know, we don't need material. We just need to call. We can have a phone call. Right. You can write us, and we can have a call. And if you see that we can help you, you will feel it. And if you feel it, you will say, "Oh, I want more of this," and we will start to speak up about what we can do with you. Because yes, we want American clients or Canadian clients. Yes, we want them from every part of the world. But the thing is, like for focus, we have done it in Spanish, in our own mother language. So yeah, you can write us.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so we'll put links in the show notes, and but they can go into Instagram and reach out to you there. Is that right? Or
yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, great. I know I see you there, and now I understand more than ever why I'm seeing you in those bikinis all the time. Like a big thing, right? It's this huge, means so much more than just like, oh, look at me. You know, it's like it is that, but it's like there's something deeper that now I understand about you that I wasn't paying attention to before. I was just like, oh, she loves to, you know, they love to share these pictures all the time. That's just fun. That's interesting. Now I know the deeper reasons. That's so fun. So check that out.
Thank you for saying that. And may I add that I have realized that being seen is where I feel safe.
Ah, interesting. It's fascinating. Yeah. So most people, because usually it is the opposite of what we think. I'm not safe to be seen. All of a sudden you start being seen, you really let yourself be seen. And now you're like, man, I feel really safe to be seen now. You know, like it flips around at some point once people get past all their stuff, right?
In fact, for me, it was, I didn't want to be seen.
Yeah.
And I had to go through this inner work to realize that what happened to me in the past was because I was not seen.
Ah, right.
So yeah, that's the end result. And I teach my students, especially girls, like if you take a picture and you're seen, you're safe. You're safe. You're in a safe space. Because otherwise, if you stay in the shadows and if you keep yourself short, you are in the wrong vibration.
But they will speak bad about you. Why you're doing that? Why are you showing that? Until they get used to it.
Or finally they understand.
Finally they understand. Like
I just like, it's her thing. She loves doing it. I have fun because I can feel the fun in it. I can feel the good. It just feels it's a good thing. So, but yeah, I could see where people are like, well, that's ego. You're just trying to show off. Like those ideas could jump in, I suppose. But it's funny. Like we got to learn what's really going on for people. It's all part of the spiritual rock star thing. Be a spiritual rock star. Take a closer look at things. See what's really going on, right?
We're so rock stars that we put our own gossips.
Right. Of course. It's part of our nature, I suppose, right? So, all right, and so we've got a brief segment we're going to do today. Do some quick tune-ins on you guys. That's part of the show. You guys ready to receive a couple of downloads from me?
Yeah,
Okay.
ready.
Okay, all right, let's do it. Okay, so let me see what's coming up. Well, that's very interesting. Something coming on already. So, all right, JoséJavier, they're showing me like you like a cowboy, you know. So let me see more what that's all about, though. Yeah, I mean, like people may not understand this based on the interview, but like I get like in maybe it could be sexual too, but like it's like even more of a taking charge, like you know how powerful you can be and how you can step forward in this relationship, but also you know in your power and in your visibility, you know, because like here you are, but you're here with Natie and everything, but like yeah, overall, like you know increasingly to you know be an example, to be of more of the embodied masculinity, you know, that we're looking for in the world and demonstrating more of that. So anyway, so that's part of it at least. So that's what I noticed. Let's see. Yeah, just that maverick self that you have. You can be very mavericky, like do your own thing, do it your own way, and like keep going with that. To keep doubling, tripling down on that. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So something about a crystal grid is what I'm seeing with you, Natie. So, and I've seen this for other guests actually, but yeah, and also got like a dream weaver, or I don't think, yeah, it's like looks like more like a dream weaver almost kind of thing. So maybe you have, I don't know if you have an altar already or anything, but or something like that. But like I see crystals around like a dream weaver or something, kind of thing. And so just really like this could be something you're already doing or something that wants to happen. But I feel like you can bring a lot of energy, not only for yourself, but for a lot of things into this sort of grid that's revealing itself to me. So I just see crystals around. I see a dream weaver, and let me see else. There's something else with you that I want to show me. So okay, so they're showing me like with you and with a river, and taking water from that river. So yeah, so what I'm getting based on everything coming in from the interview too, probably, but it's just yeah, maybe there's a lot more lean-in for you to help women to learn to really take in the deep nourishment that's available for them. You know, and like you said earlier, it's natural. You know, sex is supposed to be naturally enjoyed, and ultimately, right? And so helping women to nourish themselves, and of course to be visible, right? So it'd be a no-brainer for you to help women more and more with that too. Like, hey, you know, come on, let's go to the other end of this. So yeah, some basic things coming through as far as I'm concerned, but these downloads, you know, have got potency because they're igniting the energy inside you. They're helping you realize, like, yeah, I kind of feel that. I kind of know that. Yes, let's say yes to that, right? No, take you down those pathways. So there's more. I see a number of things, but I'm going to keep it there. The show's been going pretty long today. Any quick thoughts or reflections on all that?
Yeah, I'm maverick. I can have solo maybe.
Right. That's fine.
Yeah. But I'm always protecting. It's like is my masculinity role is to protect. So right now I don't have to protect something. It's like about showing how to protect yourself.
And something else, this is not about gender, masculine or feminine, because both men and women have masculine and feminine energy.
Right.
When a man doesn't have their feminine energy in order because they can, for example, they can't enjoy sex, there's also something wrong going on. Most likely traumas that has not been resolved. But the normal thing is that both masculine and feminine energy are working together in one person to feel complete and fulfilled.
Yeah.
You have a marriage inside of you.
Right. Right. How's it going with that? Right. You know, with your your own marriage, the masculine and feminine, and that whole thing. So yeah, that's so true too. So yeah, as we wrap it up, just if people want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. There's a meditate, make money meditation there that helps you open up your chakras, get your downloads, and even things you're keep wondering, how's that going to happen? Or how's this going to happen? How am I going to make more money in my business? But as you meditate, you will start to have the energy come in you where you'll have the confidence, you'll get the inspiration and want to start taking the next steps. What seemed impossible all of a sudden will land inside you as you meditate and make money. So check out the Meditate, Make Money meditation for free at yoursacredpurpose.com. And there's also an opportunity for Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan there. For those light leaders that are committed to, taking it to the max with your mission and really doing your great work and being able to have incredible success doing so financially and doing all the impact and all that, check out the Rock Your Sacred Purpose energy scan so I can tune into you through your energy and through your business and start tuning into how things want to unfold for you to optimize your way of being and also to optimize your results from that way of being that is meant for you. Who are you really, and embodying that. So check that all out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And then I give the last word to you two, Natie and JoséJavier. So any last words for the audience?
Enjoy your life.
Enjoy it with you. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your life. Try to put your family first.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both. I mean, it's been so rich. This is one of our longer shows of all time. It's up there. So it goes to show how amazing everything was. And so I just appreciate you both. Thank you for coming in. And to our listeners, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here on Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time, everyone. Goodbye for now.
Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.